What I want to talk about too.
What do you want to talk about?
I think I was talking to the guys in my community about this last night. I don't think self improvement, and this is what I'm really starting to step into. Christ focused self improvement doesn't feel genuine for me anymore.
Right.
It doesn't feel authentic. And one of the things we began to sit on is self improvement really has no end.
Hmm.
You ever thought about this? Like, the
Yeah.
more that you try and dive into self improvement, and by the way, I'm not going to like just trash on it. I'm not going full 180 and be like, it's horrible, it's horrendous, terrible thing to do. But there is a level to it where it's like, if your standard is always exterior of yourself, like that's the level you need to get to. You need to have more money, more success, a better physique, all these, whatever it is, you'll never actually reach it. There's always another level. There's always someone else to compare yourself to. There's always something you're doing wrong. It's another way of looking for exterior validation. And it puts off life. I find that to be true as well. This is something you probably already know this about me because I'm pretty sure I used to talk to you about this stuff. I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm too locked in on business and stuff. I need to get better financially. Then I'll start dating. I was like, once I get to $4,000 a month in my business, then I'll start dating. And I hit $4,000 a month. And you know what happened? I was like, once I hit $8,000, then I'll start dating. Then I hit 8. I was like, once I'm hitting $10,000 a month, 10 grand, that's the number everybody says online. Once I hit 10 grand a month, now I'm good. And I tried to push it again and push it again. And I'll catch myself sometimes too, even recently. Finished up January. January, I'm pretty sure was the best month I've ever had in business. And instantly my mind went to, why didn't I do more than this? How do I double this? Right? And I will get these thoughts too of like, yeah, I'll start dating soon. Once I'm doing like, this number or this number a month, now I'll start dating. And it's always just pushing it off. I see it with, I'm going to expose him. He won't care. I see it with my brother too. He's the same way, but just in fitness. He's a day trader, but it's fitness for him. Oh man, if I could just get a little bit more jacked, which you've seen pictures of him, right? So
Yeah.
he's huge, dude. This guy is huge. He's been lifting like 7 years. I've watched this man in the midst of a deep cut, like rep 275 on the bench. Like he's big. And man, if I can just get a couple more pounds of muscle, if I can just get a little bit leaner, then I'll start posting content. Oh yeah, then I'll start dating. Then I'll go do whatever it is. It's like, dude, there's no end point to any of it. And the more you're on self-improvement, the more it's ironic. You're doing self-improvement, improving the self, but then looking for in the exterior to get the validation that what you've done internally is enough.
Yes, it's the trap of self-improvement. That's why so many people relate with the post where it's like talking about as soon as you start down the journey of self-improvement, you start to hate yourself more and more the further you go because there's that gap of where you want to get to. It's very common. And there has to be this balance when it comes to self-improvement with this other piece of, call it mindfulness, call it gratitude, call it really just connection at the end of the day. That if you don't have that, you're right. You're just grinding yourself to a pulp to achieve these things that don't actually give you what you want. Every guy also has to experience this, I believe, where you push the limits of your mind, you push the limits of your body. It's very healthy for us because we're mind-body dominant, where you push those limits to see what you're capable of. And you experience the results of that. I hit this goal, I reached that level, I got this lean, I made this much money. And then you have those moments that you've had where you realize it didn't change anything. So then it's okay, yes, having this stuff is a great benefit. Having more money is a great benefit. Being stronger is a great benefit. Being in better shape is a great benefit. All of that is a great benefit. But oftentimes, what do you sacrifice in order to get those things? You sacrifice your heart, your connections with your loved ones, or you just shut that heart totally off so you can solely focus on mind-body activities. You look at all the guys who are the most successful in those realms, a lot of the biggest athletes, they don't have good marriages, man. They don't have really deep, loving friendships. You look at the
Did you
most
see?
successful financially, it's the same thing, like divorce
Yeah.
after divorce after divorce after divorce.
Did you see the clip with Shaq talking on a podcast? And he's got this mansion, I don't know how many, thousands upon thousands of square feet. And I don't know, I think it has like 10 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, hot tub, pool, like you name it. It's a mansion out in LA. And he's like, I'm 50 something years old and I'm the only one living in the house. You don't think I know I messed up?
Yeah.
I remember hearing that and I was like, ooh, like that's, it makes me think of, I know you've probably worked with people like this in the past where, man, it's really sold with the red pill type of content of just grind and work harder and do better until you're like 35 or 40 and then look for a wife and look for kids. And in fact, I'm pretty sure you and I've had this conversation before. Where they're at a great place financially. They have a great life setup. They have a beautiful apartment, great cars. They dress great. They can wear suits every day, never have to worry about finances. They don't look at the price tag or look at the number when they're in a restaurant. And now they're looking to date and they can't find anybody.
Yeah, it's a lie. It's such a lie. And there's two pieces of it. Well, one of the pieces when they go into, yeah, just smash girls the whole time. Just run through girls the whole time. You know, there's a piece of this. What is that? What you do has a lot to do with who you become and who you are. The actions that you take very much reveal who you are. So, what type of person uses other people for just pleasure, material gain? What type of person does something like that without any real connection or care for them? Just gonna use you to get what I need and then move on so I can use another person to get what I need with no care for what this does to you or how it affects you at all. That is a form of psychopathy. Okay, so you do that long enough, it's going to affect your mind in a weird way. Now, I'm not saying you can't come back from this. I'm not saying that there's no redemption to be found for anybody that goes down those paths, man or woman. But we have to see it for what it is. So that's one side of it where it's like is going to that is going to change you in a way that makes it way more difficult for you to actually connect, really connect and commit to a long-term thing. You've also seen, when you go down that path, you've seen the worst of them. Like you really do see and experience the lowest class of like people. And then there's this other side of it where, let's say you're not even interested in women at all. And you're like, I'll deal with that once I get to this, once I'm really stable, once I'm super fit, once I'm like at this level where I can start attracting them more. Then you get to the problem of you have no experience in this at all. Right? You don't know how to even have conversations with them properly. You don't know how they think. You don't know how they operate. You don't know how to deal with these different scenarios because you've never been there before. And it doesn't matter how many books you've read about it.
How many YouTube videos you watched? Yeah.
The learning is in the doing for everything. These are skill sets that are built through the reps that we get.
One of the things, I was actually speaking with another creator friend of mine, another Christian guy, and because we both tend to work with the guys that are younger, right? So a lot of my guys are like 18 to 24, 25. And especially if they grew up in the church and grew up in, with a Christian household, dating isn't really a thing. Like it's not that common. A lot of them have never done it before. And I don't want this to come across as pessimistic because I fully believe that there's good women. I have noticed that even for people that have dated, it's like it can be kind of hard to pick up on some cues that'll let you know like this person isn't who they're claiming to be. Like this woman might be claiming to be Christian, and maybe she does have faith in Christ, but just because you have faith doesn't mean you have good character. And for a lot of, I can't help but wonder for, man, some of these guys, it's like you've never done any of this stuff. You never really sat down and got to know women. You never went and dated. You're going to get wrecked by just one girl who really knows how to, like, for lack of a better way of saying it, like play the game almost, if you know what I mean. There's something to that for sure.
You lack discernment in that area 100%, because we all go into it, right? We all go into that as young men. When you first start dating, like you just think the best, you give the benefit of the doubt. And it's not that we want to be pessimistic, you just want to have discernment, and you can't have discernment without the experiences to understand what to look for in different scenarios. Until you've been burnt, until I got burnt on some business partnerships, I didn't really I shouldn't even say that I got burnt. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think that's the wrong way to look at it, because I don't think the people that I partner with or were working with, I don't think they're intentionally trying to burn me or anything like that. It was just, this isn't working for me. And I agreed to things that now I know I should not agree to that. And now when we go into these types of relationships, I need to make sure that there's different types of agreements in place so that I know that I'm going to also benefit from this partnership. Right? And it's no different in dating, where it's like, okay, that was a big mistake. I need to draw a line here. I need to have some type of boundary, some type of border to let them know, hey, this isn't acceptable to me in this type of relationship, because I've seen exactly what happens if this behavior is in place on your end. And I'm not willing to go down that path because I've experienced the pain of what it looks like to go down that path.
One of the things I was speaking with somebody with just yesterday, actually, it's the age-old conversation that you and I probably talk about like at least once a week, but it's this conversation over and over again, especially in the Christian community online, of body count. And he said something that was very interesting, which I think I really agree with. He was like, it's not so much the number, because if it's purely just a number, then maybe that is more insecurity on the man's end. But oftentimes the higher the number is for somebody, this is not just a women thing, this is a men thing too, the more trauma there is and the more baggage there is. And does that make sense? Like, I don't think it's necessarily just the initial number. I think it's often the side effects of sleeping with people that don't end up becoming your wife, that don't end up becoming your husband.
Well, going back to what I talked about before, it also has a lot to do with the intentions. There's so much nuance to the conversation of like body count. Yep. Right? Because it's no different if you see someone who's super overweight. They have made decisions to hurt themselves over and over and over and over again in an attempt, in a pursuit of pleasure. I see this as no different. They have hurt their soul, their spirit, themselves. They've done damage to themselves over and over and over again, searching for this pleasure to make them feel better about whatever it is that's going on in their life that they're too afraid or not strong enough or avoiding, looking at. It's very common. Like, as we have developed your program with the guys, it's never porn.
No.
Right?
Never.
It's never food. It's never alcohol. It's never weed. It's never cocaine. It's never heroin. It's never, these things aren't the actual problem.
Nope. Distractions from something else.
These are the things that they use. These are the solutions.
Yep.
These are the solutions that they found so they can feel better about the things that they've been through.
They're escapisms. Yeah, I wouldn't even call them solutions, although I know why you're saying that. It's escapisms. They're not actual solutions. That was true for me though too. One of the things, and I've realized a couple of different things. I'm gonna go ahead and just expose myself. I'm already starting to make YouTube videos on this stuff anyway, so it's fine. One of the sins I struggle with the most is self-worship. And I think social media is designed to create that. It's probably subconsciously one of the reasons I gravitated to it, because I got started on social media when I was 16. And my first video, I was watching the self-improvement creators at the time, which was like TMF, teaching men's fashion. I don't know if you remember these types of guys, but I remember the tips from some of their videos. It's COVID time. I don't have a lot going on. I'm chilling in my room all the time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a video. Why not? And I just make a video with a couple pieces of advice that I learned from him. And my first video like ripped for 300K views. And I was like, ooh, like this is fun. This feels good. I'm doing this from now on, right? Fast forward a couple months. I think it took me 3 months to hit 10,000 followers. 2 months after that, I hit 100K. And that's when I started to transition into a lot more of like the red pill-esque type of content. And I was watching it, doing it, and making videos on all of it. And that's what really started to blow up my account. But everything about really the red pill stuff, we can go into that if you want to, but even just social media on the surface is created for self-worship. Like I'm a content creator and I make these, I was just talking about this on my Instagram story. I'm a content creator and I make videos with my opinions and my beliefs and my mindsets and my dogma, my scripture, basically. And then I can post it on the internet and people will watch it and like it and comment and praise me for it and share it with other people. And if they like me so much, they can become my follower so that they can continue to like watch. It's self-worship to a T. And one of the things I just noticed more and more, last 4 months, I've realized this even more, is I've been putting myself on the altar just as much as I put God on, or I'm putting myself on the altar with God all the time. Always have been through my entire relationship with God. And it left, how do I want to put this? I didn't want to grow the way Christ calls us to, which is just becoming more like him. And I essentially tried to be him. I tried to be perfect. I tried to be flawless. I tried to be, I was going to say sinless, but that's not even true. I wanted to appear sinless.
There we go.
Yeah.
It was all appearance.
Yep. And yeah, this goes right back into the stuff that you were just talking about. It was the worship thing was definitely one thing that put me into pornography and stuff. But also another thing was grief. Like even when me and my previous relationship like ended, that girl, we broke up. This would have been end of October, somewhere around there. Like I went back to pornography. And I never would have admitted this out loud until the last couple months. Then I told you, I told Rick, I told a couple different people. But I never fully went off of pornography because it felt like anytime something went, I guess you could say like majorly wrong in my life, like anytime I lost something, I'd go back to pornography. Like I remember sharing this with Rick. I was like, I don't know if this sounds silly, but I can remember when my childhood dog died. The following week after that, each night, I'd go to pornography. When I'd lose somebody, a friend would pass, family member would pass, I would fail some big goal I had, there was problems in the relationship that I was in. It was my way to escape feeling those negative ways. It was my way to escape any type of grieving. And the great thing about pornography is it's so strong. It's very distracting, but it's so strong that even afterwards for a little while, you're so emotionally numb that you can even think about the stuff, but it doesn't create the emotional reaction in you. Like it's like morphine almost. Does that make sense?
We all have these things. And that's why when you watch, when you go to a funeral, some of the weird people respond in the strangest ways to losing loved ones. Right? Like that's why, that there's the movie. You ever seen Wedding Crashers before?
I think I've seen clips of it, but no, I've never seen it.
It's an epic movie, but basically these guys figure out that they can pretend to be, parts of one side of the family. It's crash the wedding.
It's Vince Vaughn, right?
Yeah. Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, and then they could get laid because all the ladies are like so pumped up and horny from a wedding. And there's this part in the movie where Will Ferrell enters. They're like, man, we're off our game, and we gotta go see the master, the grand master, like that taught us all of this. And enters Will Ferrell, and it's so funny because like his whole thing, he goes, "You guys are still doing weddings? Oh nah, man, funerals is where it's at." These girls, and he's like, every he just crashes funerals, and that's where he gets laid. But this whole piece that you're finally realizing and bringing awareness around, it's so important for everybody to understand and to take a look at, like, how do I deal with loss? Specifically, what are the distraction? Because denial is a monster, man. The denial and the bargaining pieces, denial is a real motherfucker. This thing gets everybody. We were even talking about the other day as we've leveled up our awareness through, learning with Rick and really getting a solid framework of what to look for when we're going into these places. Like, I noticed right away, oh, as soon as I download one of these types of, like, a streaming app on my phone, I'm cooked. I'm running away from something. I already know. Like, why did I just download Crunchyroll? What just happened? Like, why do I have Netflix? These apps don't live on my phone. I never have these,
Yep.
right? Why is my screen time all of a sudden, 15 hours today, whatever it is? It's like, oh, I'm running away from something. What am I running away from? What am I trying to distract myself from? Is it work that I don't know how to do? So I got to, like, really lock in and go into the piece of, like, figuring out how to execute on this stuff. Is there a relationship that's going wrong? Is my wife upset about something and I just don't want to think about it? Did I do something to cause a rift in a friendship or my marriage? Like, all of these things we have to pay really close attention to and level up our awareness in. Otherwise, like Jung says, if we don't bring the subconscious into the conscious, these default things and behaviors that we go to, because you have a method, you have an operating system in you right now that you use to deal with grief. It's just a really bad one, but you have one.
Yeah.
And you're doing it over and over again every time you experience one of these losses in different ways. So if we don't bring the subconscious into the conscious, it will rule your life and you'll call it fate.
I'm trying to decide which other pieces of the self worship in myself I want to expose. Um,
You're like, we are recording right now.
yeah, I mean, I've already said most of these things in YouTube videos that are getting ready to come out. With the Christian guys that I work with, and I see it in myself too, this was definitely a piece in me. There's always a level of judgment to pornography specifically as well. Like, I'll have a lot of guys that'll tell me when they go back to it, one of the thoughts they'll get is like, yeah, I did this and this was wrong, but at least I'm not like them who are actually, in the video doing it. This isn't a full thought, so I don't know if I can really elaborate on this, but
No, they're very judgmental of the people that are most judgmental of OnlyFans models are typically the people that are watching the most porn.
dude, I've made videos on I make people mad, bro. I'll get people in my DMs that tell me to kill myself for making those types of videos, but it's
Sure.
very true. It's
Well,
very
look
true.
how common it is. These are all projections. Like any of our judgments, there you can see them, a majority of them, as these projections. Like, why am I judging them? What do I think about myself in this way? Why am I so judgmental of this specific thing? Is it a thing that I used to? Because it's not always a piece that they're currently engaged in, but it could be a piece that they're ashamed of from their past as well, right? And how many times you just look at the politicians, how many times has there been these politicians that are adamantly against, gays or gay marriage, and they're hiring little boy prostitutes, like, in the background? Like, there's too many examples of this. So whenever you see people judging, it tells us more about you than it does the people you're judging, honestly. And it's
Yeah.
tough, man. The comments, the messages. I posted a video yesterday. I knew I was going to get some hate on. I just knew. I knew because I very rarely call out the men in my content because I'm looking to connect with them and meet them where they're at and empathize with them.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I do, there's always this huge pushback. And one of the videos that I made yesterday was, one of these stitches of like, what's something that you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud. And for me, it's like men who avoid close male friendships is a red flag. Like men that are incapable of developing close, intimate friendships with other men, it's a huge problem, and it really affects their ability to have healthy relationships with women. Because there's this piece that we need. There's the conversations that you and I have, behind closed doors that nobody gets to see. The conversations that you have with your brother, with your friends, the conversations I have with my other friends and my brothers. You need this brotherhood of good men that are all striving to be better in different areas of our life. I'm not talking about the friends that you just go party with and you get high with and you get drunk with and you do boy behaviors with. I'm talking about the men that are sharpening you, because without that, you're missing this piece where you're not getting challenged by the other men. You also don't have a place where you can bring certain conversations to. You can't bring these conversations to your wife. You can't really, and having friendships or girl best friends, right? That's a whole nother thing. But a lot of these conversations, they can't help you become a better man. Women cannot help you become a better man. Your relationship will reveal a lot of stuff to you that you need to work on. So like that's one of the best self-help, self-improvement tools you'll ever experience. Like look how far
Very true.
you've leveled up in the past, in the past year because of you going into a relationship, and then you're like, holy shit, I can see everything much more clearly now because it's right there in your face. All of your deficiencies are present when you're in a relationship with a woman. It's an opportunity to see all of those things. That's why they can be so challenging for guys who aren't leveling up, for guys who aren't really in this mode of bettering themselves. So guys without a brotherhood, without close, intimate male relationships, and to take it further, guys who avoid those relationships altogether because they've never felt a safe one. They don't know what that looks like for different reasons. Growing up, they couldn't connect with the guys. Maybe they were bullied or shamed whenever they opened up about like what they were really thinking or feeling. Like they had nobody to really connect with. But then you've got all these things that you can't bring to your wife. Other women aren't really going to understand or be able to help you. So where do you go to level up in the areas of figuring out like what healthy anger is, figuring out how to lead your family appropriately and make better decisions as a man? Like all of these pieces that we understand as men because we deal with them firsthand, they don't understand because they don't have to deal with them. Just like we're not going to understand some of the stuff that they're going through and be able to empathize and give them the experience on these issues that are unique to the women.
Something Rick said to me one time was that leaders get no empathy. The only place they can go is to other leaders. And that's just very true for most men. You know how much diabolical shit I've said to you or Rick about myself? There's no way I could have said it to anybody else. You have to have that. It's mandatory. Iron sharpens iron. That's in Proverbs. Everybody knows that verse. But I want to circle back to something you actually said, which is you have to challenge them. Like there has to be almost like a level of disagreement. Iron can't sharpen iron unless there's friction. One of the things It's almost like polar opposites when you look at like women's self-help content to men's. Like women's is all you're enough, you're perfect, like everything could be great, you know, like you're wonderful. And men, it's like you ain't shit, like everything's your fault. The reason she left you is your fault. The reason you're, and some of that's true, by the way. Men almost respond better to that. And maybe there are instances where you do have to get to the place of you are enough. In fact, I think that's a requirement in order to really grow with God. I think after a certain amount of self-improvement, this is what I'm really starting to realize too, is like, you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be flawless. You're never going to be God. Like, I know that's a heartbreaker. Like, you'll never be Jesus in actuality. And that's when you can go into, you know, we love God because God first loved us, and truly accepting that you are loved. But most men need the, for lack of a better term, the tough love. They need guys to kind of like tell them, like, dude, you're effing up. Like, you're messing this up. You need to do this. Like, and it's very stern. And it's one of the things I even noticed with a lot of the Christian guys, because when you look at, I feel like a lot of the church and maybe just the Christian side of the internet, it's very kind of soft. And so a lot of times if I'm on a call and I just directly call somebody out, they actually end up really appreciating it. Excuse me. Does that make sense? Like there's...
Yes. There's a mix. There's a mixture that needs to be present. There's a balance. There's a yin and a yang to this that needs to happen. And it's what I see is it is a combination of a man has to develop we talk about defeating doubt and shame. A man has to develop a competency in believing in himself. And if he does not have that, he has to first borrow it from his brothers. It's a piece of vulnerability that most groups of men and most male friendships don't have. How many times have you told one of your friends you believe in them?
Very rare. I mean, I've probably told a handful of them, maybe.
Exactly. How many times have I told you I believe in you?
I don't even know.
Countless.
Yeah.
Countless. I learned that because a man came into my life, and after every conversation I had with him, he would look at me. I'd be like, all right, man, I'll see you later. And then be like, hey, listen, I just need you to know, I fucking believe in you. This thing you're about to do, I know you can do it. So go get after it. Right? This, because he knew I didn't believe, he knew I didn't believe in myself yet. Mm. And that's what we can give to the men. Because the biggest issues that men deal with is doubt and distractions. The things we're talking about right now, doubt and distractions are the huge killers for men because of this internal voice of shame that they experience. Mm. And the biggest trick of all that gets played on men is they believe that internal voice. I just posted a video about it this morning. That internal voice, they believe that voice is actually helping them get better. That voice of shame, like, no, that's the thing that motivates me to be better in the gym. But it keeps you in the cyclical process of never getting what you actually want because you don't believe you are enough to get it. So there's the balance of that, right? The balance of needs to believe in himself. And then the other piece of it is the accountability. You need the accountability. You need your brothers to look at you and say, hey, you fucked that up, man. Because we bring stuff to each other and we're like, hey, what do you think about this? And you have to be able to feel safe in the environment to bring the type of stuff that we bring to each other and have these types of conversations, so that is a piece of it. There has to be a piece of like, you're safe here. We're not judging you. We're not shaming you, but we're going to call it as it is. Right? And we need that. Where if you look at how women oftentimes communicate, it's very different. They're looking for validation. They're looking for like the acceptance of who they are. And when they talk about their problems, it's like, yeah, Becky is a bitch. You're right. You know, it's very common to hear them talking that in those ways. So for us, we need that level of emotional safety. Most men have never found emotional safety in their life. They don't even know what it looks like. They've never experienced a place where they can truly get out their own thoughts, authentically, genuinely what they're feeling. They actually don't even know most of the time what their genuine thoughts and feelings are because they've suppressed them because they're not allowed to share them with people. Anytime they shared them with men, they would get bullied. Anytime they'd share with them with women, it gets weaponized.
I love what you said about the shame piece of it too. I can see it in myself. Man, it goes right back to the first thing we talked about. The shame you hold on to, and at least for me, I'll just speak for me. It was this underlying belief that if I was 100% me, then I wasn't enough. And when you have that, and that's kind of the shame that's there, you compromise authenticity and start to put on masks in any way possible to portray yourself like you are enough. And you'll go seeking external validation through people, through achievement. That was definitely true for me. Definitely try and do it through achievement. More followers, more money. The shame kept driving it more and more. Even as I started to get these exterior results, well, you can get more, you can do better, you're still lacking in this, you're still not enough. That's at the very core of it. And so you do more of it and more of it and more of it. Ultimately, the core desire, once again, I'm just speaking for me, when you feel like you're not enough, that means really what you want is to just 100% know that you are enough, just you. Like just you. Then you start doing all these things to achieve, to get the results you want. For other people, it might not be achieved. Like maybe it's a different word that you fill in there. But for me, it was you achieve so that you can get the love and affirmation. But then I'll deny the love and affirmation to work more so that I can get love and affirmation. And then I get to another level and I can get love and affirmation and I deny it, push it away, suppress my heart so that I can achieve more and get more. Just like the financial thing I said earlier. Once I hit 4K, Harvey, then I'll start dating. Once I hit 10K, then I'll start dating. Oh, and then before you know it, you're thinking numbers that are just crazy. You're like, oh yeah, once I get that, then I'm dating. Counterintuitive, to say the least.
It's the trap, though, that so many of us fall into, though. Such a trap, especially when it comes to the finances, when it comes to guys and their bodies. Like, I fell into that trap for a long time, right? The reason, growing up as an overweight kid that was completely undesirable to a majority of the girls, at least the girls that I was interested in, right? I'm sure there were girls that were interested in me. There's someone for everyone. I 100% believe that. Sometimes you just got to lower your standards, ladies. So growing up like that, I had this thought in my mind that, okay, if I can just get skinny, then I'll be able to get a girlfriend. Right. And then I remember doing that and I like started running every day and I got super lean. You know, I was like 6 foot, 159 pounds, like super, super lean. And then I remember hanging out with one of my best friends, and one of the girls that I graduated with, she was like, yeah, you just like too skinny now.
Yeah, your victim weight.
And I was like, what the fuck? All right. But in my head, it like planted another seed. I was like, now I got to get big muscles. That's what girls like. Then I'll finally be able to have like what I want. So then I go down that whole journey and do that whole thing. And technically works. It gets you the attention of these girls that you never had before. But then in my head, like, it also planted this belief that I had to stay that way to keep her. Which really has nothing to do with, it's a piece of the puzzle.
Gets you in the door.
It's a piece of the puzzle. Like, yeah, we got to stay healthy, but not because it's the one thing that will keep her in a relationship with you, right? It's just one of the many variables that comes in to play here. But
yeah, if you go up 2% body fat, the relationship is over. Yeah.
Right, right. But what it is, when you have that, that's where part of this shame piece comes in, where it's like, why every time I would kind of get a little more overweight or like not look the way that I really wanted to look, it would cause me to then look at myself in the mirror and start shaming myself. Because I truly believed me not being shredded was going to lead to all these bad things happening in my life.
Yeah. Yep. The only difference for me was just finances or
Exactly.
followers.
Exactly. Everybody has a thing that they attach to.
Yep.
To get the validation that they're looking for, that they think will lead to the thing. And there's so many guys that are like, I'm such a good guy, like I'm shredded, I make money, I do well, I work hard, I'm honest, I'm loyal. It's like, dude, those are all great qualities. There's a lot more you need to have a healthy marriage, though. Yeah, great job. Like, great, dude. You're loyal, you're fit, you make money, you're pleasant to be around, you do anything for her, which is part of the problem. But like, there's this element where these guys don't understand what it actually is to have a healthy relationship with women, to actually deeply connect and experience love and run the ship, like lead your marriage, lead your family. It's the most difficult thing a man is going to experience. It is a different type of entrepreneurship and leadership, because a lot of guys who are managers at companies, they're like, I'm a leader. I'm in charge of all of these people and I lead. You aren't leading shit. You didn't have to build anything. You didn't build the structure. You didn't build the company. You don't have the weight of what if this goes wrong, you go find another job. That's different than the owner. It's a whole nother thing. And that's what you have at the home. Like, this is your kingdom. You have to completely build the structures of everything. How do we communicate? How do we raise our kids? How do we fill each other's, love tanks per se? How do we keep this thing going and keep this thing healthy? And how do we make sure everyone is doing well inside of here? How do we, handle the finances? How do we stay physically healthy, spiritually healthy, heart health, like all of these things? It is not a small task. And unfortunately, nobody is teaching men how to do this. Where is it? It doesn't get taught in school. And if your father wasn't a good example of it, or your parents didn't have a good relationship and set a good example, you're completely lost. And that's why there are so many influencers like me, like you, that are speaking to the young men, because they're homeless in the form of community and mentorship. Young men have no community or mentorship at all. If it's not coming from their father, if it's not coming from the schools, it's not coming from the family, it's not coming from the church anymore. So they're running to YouTube, they're running to Instagram, they're running to places where they can find somebody who at least looks like they know what they're talking about, who has some form of results, typically money and fitness. Like, oh, these guys got money, this guy is super fit. These guys portray at least what I think it would be like, what I think I should get and do. And then they just listen to everything that you say. They listen to everything I say. They listen to everything Tate says. They listen to anything that these other guys say, because they have nobody else.
Mm-hmm. I was talking with the guys in my community about this yesterday. Anybody you watch online and like accept their advice, you're also accepting any of their trauma in a sense. Best example I can give of this stuff is, I remember specifically seeing this on an Instagram story one time too. I won't name him, but there was a red pill YouTuber I used to watch a lot of. And someone asked him, like, what made you start to think the way you think? And he was like, man, this girl played me out bad when I was 16. And this was years ago too, dude. So like, it didn't like fully register for me then, but I remember thinking like in the moment, like, dang, so all of this content is because of that? Like, you never just moved on and healed? None of that happened. You just You were just like, all right, no, women ain't shit. Done. We're just staying over there for the rest of my life. And so anybody you watch online, you're also accepting any of their trauma, because most people have never gone to the level to try and resolve the things that are internal in them. Most people don't even know what's wrong with them. They couldn't even name it. I couldn't even name it before, really, until like the last like 6 months. I couldn't even really have named it. And so any of their worldviews that you're taking and putting into your life like it's gospel also mean, like, their worldview is not based off of truth. It's based off of their scars, their trauma, their failures. And it's not that all of it's bad, but most of the time it's some good sprinkled in with a lot of bad. That's the best lies. The best lies have a bunch of truth in them. And then it's even crazier too, because they, especially for the young guys like that are my age and stuff, we're the most antisocial generation there's ever been. And so then they're almost going down like these pipelines because they don't have anybody around them and they want to get better. And so then they're watching this type of content and there's no one else to kind of filter it with them, to say like, hey, this is good, this is bad. I do this with you. I'll watch stuff and I will ask you about it. Be like, yo, what do you think about this versus this? And then, normally you blow it up and you're like, yeah, no, like that's way wrong. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll try again. But that's like, there's none of that. And so then you get these guys that this was me, where you go down like a really red pill rabbit hole, or if you know what the black pill is, they got a term for all this now, the black pill. It's like, if you're not 6'3", caramel chocolate model looking dude, you might as well kill yourself. Like, just end it. Your life's irrelevant. Or you go down the rabbit hole of like Nick Fuentes and your race is the most important thing about you. The white supremacist Mexican, by the way, his last name's Fuentes. That makes a lot of sense. Who, I'm not even going to get into that. Never mind. Not going there. But like, it's just, when you don't have that environment around you, you don't have community, you don't have people to bounce this stuff off of, then you're just like a feather in the wind is really what you are. And I can be that to a certain level for the guys that I work with. And then I need that to filter the stuff that I'm getting. And I need you, and I need Rick, and I need other guys in front of me that can push stuff back to me and be like, hey, that's good, that's bad, definitely don't use that. And then, I can filter it back down to them to help them out. But yeah, like, we have all the technology to be the most connected generation. And we are definitely by far the most disconnected. The most at other sides of the table. We're opposite. What's the right way to say that? We're enemies of each other in like the biggest way possible. Like, there's such a gap between black versus white and men versus women and Republican versus Democrat. And all of it's a facade too, by the way. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But if you wanted to go into the Epstein files, if we had more time, I could do a dang 25-minute rant on that, but I won't.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time. Next time. Let's wrap it up, because I know you have to go to the police station. So let's get you out of here.
You don't gotta word it like that.
We're just gonna leave it at that. We'll leave it open okay. To everyone. You guys can imagine why he has to go there. And yeah, dude, thanks for coming to hang.
No problem, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, stay strong, guys.